Hey, locker room, what's up? I love this. Being able to kind of have you guys and invite you guys into my house. I can't wait, like I told you to, take you to the new office. This is the remodel. You'll see that pretty soon. They're finishing it. But, I get a chance. I got home, right? I was in LA, you guys know that. So I got home from working in LA and just wanted to watch some Thursday night football because I took the overnight flight. I was exhausted. But it's always when I'm just trying to sit around, my baby's always come and hop up on me and kind of lay around and watch football with me or watch some spooky movie. You know what I mean? And so it's always great. Aurora, Zeus, they just love me. So they pop all, hang all over me. And then I tell them, I say, let me go chat with my people, but they lay all over me. But you guys see, they're my babies. But we did watch some Thursday night football locker room. Let me talk to you about it because I was quite pleasantly happy with the results of Thursday night football. I had watched as I was studying, I was working with and talking to Cam and Mace, and I was studying or getting ready to go on the show, and I was doing some studying, and I punched it up, looked up schedules, side-by-side schedules, results, and it had shown that the Vikings had won like 24-21. I even talked about it on the show with those guys. I said, wait a minute. I had the Chargers winning this game. I thought the Chargers would win this game and win it pretty handedly. So I had, I was like, okay, I know the Chargers, they had a great start to the season. The Vikings kind of been on and off a little bit. And J.J. McCarthy hasn't had much time. And Wentz is in the game, right? So I was taking the Chargers. But then when I saw this thing, I said, oh my God. And then it brought in all of those crazy thoughts about, is this possible? Like, can Google, AI, whatever this is, give me the results of... Keep a close eye on Justin Jefferson to see what these next few weeks bring. Justin Jefferson is used to dominating. And we all know he's one of the best receivers in the league. And he has taken every quarterback that they've had to a high level. Anybody that comes in and plays with him, basically, if you got an arm, he can make you a star. Things ain't going so great right now in Minnesota. Carson Wentz, who was a very, very, very high draft pick. You guys know him for the Philadelphia Eagles, and things just aren't going so well. So I want to see how that plays out. But on the other hand, the Chargers last night took care of their business. Yeah, and I thought, you got back to seeing what this team really wants to be. Because it's a Jim Harbaugh team. It wants to be run. It wants to be a running team, and Vidal did that. He rushed for 123 yards. What happened? Yeah, 123 yards, 117 yards, and my man Ladd hit my personal at 88. And you see, that's how he wants to win football games. That's what Harbaugh wants to do. He early on, it was Quentin Johnson. Remember the big plays? He's making the big plays. Now he'll take those, but he's going to gut you. He's going to try to hand that ball off and let drop plays here, drop plays there, and work you up the middle of the field because he knows that's the best way to beat anybody, any defense, anytime. And that's why, Harbaugh, he sets a mindset. They come in, they get that victory Thursday night football, which starts week 8. We are in week 8. It's almost halfway point. We play 17 weeks now. So, we'll play 17 games, right? Kind of 18 weeks. So we're not even at the halfway point. We'll do that at week 9. But it's week 8, 88. That's why everything must turn from right here. Speaking of turning from that 37-10 beat down that you call it a beat down that the Chargers gave the Vikings, and that's why I'm telling you to start watching a little closely what happens with Justin Jefferson as other guys may pull away if he doesn't get, You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. But turning from, because they got a great set of receivers. This game has gone to that. That's one of the top group of receivers you got over there with Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And now it's getting to the place where, okay, teams are getting great receivers. We got to find this quarterback. And Carson Wentz did not get it done today. But there's another team with a great set of receivers that I can't wait to watch this week. And that's them Dallas Cowboys. Let me tell you something. I was a little, I want to say, I don't say worried, but been concerned about this. I've been concerned because games and teams are about matchups. And let me tell you about these matchups. Let's look at it. The Cowboys, all right? You have now that dual threat at wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But remember what Denver has. I told you guys, they have those great corners. So it's about the matchups now. Those are great matchups, and these are great man corners. So I can't wait to see how they play that out against Denver. I just cannot wait to see how is Patrick Surtain going to go line up with George Pickens? Or is Patrick Surtain going to go try to follow inside and out CeeDee Lamb? Speaking of George Pickens, did you guys see that that mic'd up thing with George Pickens?
Yeah. I just gonna tell you early, I'm mic'd up.
Okay, I must admit, I must admit, you know, I like what I saw in that mic'd up. George Pickens was going at Lattimore. Boy, I'm talking about, boy, hey, I'm going to say something, man. I've gone at many men. I've gone to give many men everything I've got on a football field. And I'm going to tell you something. George broke Lattimore. Say what you will, break it how you want to. I don't know. I don't care what anybody say. And Lattimore, Marshawn, I'll have you on. We can talk about it. I'm going to tell you right now. I say he broke it. He got you. He got you, buddy. I know he gonna see you again. I understand that. But I'm telling you, he got you this time. And he was in your ear. And it was some phenomenal plays he made. I agree. Dude, I keep telling people, for this dude to be running full speed, break the top of his body off. Reach that hand up and kill the legs and make that play. Ain't many dudes gonna make that play. Lattimore, you were there. You were covered. You were covered. The man had him covered. You did your job. I used to tell people all the time, when I say I had to go through Gold Jackets to get my gold rings, I wasn't lying, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. They had me covered. The game ain't about just getting people covered. You still got to stop them from making the play. Hence the tag, the playmaker. Even if you're covered, you make that play. That's what George did, and he was talking so much noise, it was crazy. I saw a dog. It is so funny. I saw such a dog that I wondered about the dog that they were calling him and talking about George in Pittsburgh, you know. And I always talk about this, guys. I said the best thing you got to do, because you got to take that energy. You got to get that energy and make it work for you instead of working against you. What you saw that he's putting on Lattimore is, I feel like I'm somebody now. I can do this, Joker, because I can run my mouth, talk my noise. You know why? Because my boy gonna give me an opportunity to catch some plays, make some plays on your head, and I'm gonna make them plays. Couldn't do that in Pittsburgh. You couldn't talk that kind of noise with that kind of certainty, with that kind of backing up, because he didn't have nobody that had his back in Pittsburgh like Dak got his back here in Dallas. You see what I'm saying? Because he talked to him and then went and made a play. And then talked to him again. and then went and made a play. Talk to him again, and then went and made a play. And let me tell you why I say he broke Marshawn. What did you see Marshawn do? He did nothing. I felt he was tired, didn't even want to talk to Pickens anymore. He said, yeah, all right, I got you, as they walked away. Now, I remember a younger Marshawn that was more sure in himself and confident in himself. And I'm just saying, this is my assessment, Marshawn. I'm willing to talk to you about it. But I watched when you went up against Mike Evans. Him and Mike Evans got in some MMA matches. Fighting out there, brawls, jiu-jitsu. And Marshawn Lattimore didn't break, crack, and sure enough didn't step back. He kept coming at him and ready to fight him. Now he tapped out with George. I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be talking like that. But as a man that has broke many men, I'm just saying, in that matchup, maybe Marshawn come back in the next matchup and grab what's rightfully his man back from Pickens, but George took it this time. And George needs that kind of. I'm not telling you to get on Lattimore. I'm telling you to understand Pickens. What confidence he has now when he comes out. The same thing that was considered to be a bad thing in Pittsburgh is turning out to be a great thing here, only because he has a ride or die. Over there, he wanted to talk noise and show people, I'm this, I'm that, and play with this confidence. But you told him, be quiet, boy, you're being a problem. Come on. And I don't know, I don't know, I'm not saying you said it because you didn't want his juice. Maybe you said it because you know you didn't have the juice at quarterback to give him the back, somebody to give him that backing that he needs, like he has with Dak. I'm just saying. I better get out of all of this because I'm sure people will be making noise about this, that I said this. But I ain't lying about what I said. You know what I mean? That's what we have now when you talk about what you're seeing with the George Pickens. And that's the thing that can take you from that 2 to that 1. And what is that? A mentality. This now is my reality, nigga. If I'm up in your face talking noise and you talk back, my boy got my back. He gonna give me an opportunity and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. And that thing right there, it's called the greatest thing that bonds a great relationship on the football field, in the business world, even in your bedroom. It's called reciprocation, baby. If I'm giving and you giving, we got some reciprocation. And George Pickens has never had this kind of reciprocation. So, George, we're so happy to have you. I can't wait to see what happens now because you leave somebody like a Lattimore who's a young man, who's an older man, who was a beast fighter, but an older man beast fighting. You're going over there to Patrick Surtain, who's a young man beast fighter in a different game. See, Lattimore, him beast fighting with Mike Evans is one thing. Mike Evans is big and strong like George Pickens, but George Pickens has that other gear up the field. And that's the thing that throws off Lattimore just a little bit right now. Now, Surtain and Moss over here in Denver is going to make this battle an incredible battle. Denver gave up. Well, let me just say, Denver gave up some points and some things to New York last week. And Dart moved around a lot, got a lot of things done. Doom, doom, bounced around. But then they also shut it down, got that interception to make sure they can rally that 33-point fourth quarter comeback that Denver put on. You know, so in this game is going to be, you know, okay. This game they're going to say let's lock up 1-on-1 and play the run because Javonte Williams running real hard, running very well. So now Denver comes in and says let's lock up 1-on-1 outside and see what happens. And I can't wait to see what happens. You see what I'm saying? I can't wait to see the kind of reciprocation that goes on between that duo receiving group we have and GP3 and CD Lamb and Pat Surtain and Moss. That is about to be the fireworks of the weekend for most of us, because most of us, you know, be Cowboy fans and everything. And I'm going to tell you guys some, this is my concerns on it too, though. Then I'm going to talk about the best 3 games I think coming up this weekend, or the biggest or the most important 3 games that I see anyway coming up this weekend. But you got to understand this. This right here is my concern. You go look at Dallas, my concerns are Dallas on the road. Dallas put up 40 points at home, but that hasn't been the case on the road. I think they scored 61 points total. So that's about 20.3 points per game on the road. Denver put up 33 points in the fourth quarter last week. Now, I try to take solace in the fact that the Giants offense put up 32 points, which should have been 33 points on that Denver defense. And the Giants offense is doing it. Now, this is be the second game with CD that hopefully we can get to the 35 and move that number drastically that has been that where we've been on the road. So that's going to be a deep determining factor on how this thing plays out. Dallas has to get their mindset right to play on the road and produce like they produce. Because then we'll start finding determining factors. Why is this happening on the road? If not, all other reasons we had, we can always say, okay, all right, CD wasn't there. You know, CD got hurt right away. So he wasn't there. So that we can call that an excuse, but now that's gone. He's here. We are on the road. Something got to happen right here. And this is going to be the big turn because a lot of teams here are going to slip up. And when it's turned the corner right around Thanksgiving time and everybody starts getting panicky, because remember I told you we're going to have a lot of those 10-7, 11-6 teams and all of that. Everybody, one game is going to cause somebody to miss the playoffs. I'm just telling you that. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out. You know what I mean? So this is one of those kind of games that you got to make sure you take care of. And it's going to be a tough game. I believe it's a great game for Dallas anyway. It's the next step. You got to keep conquering things and knocking things off or checking things off, you know. Yeah, we've been doing good at home, and okay, we're only doing this on the road. And my excuse was CD was not here. Now you got CD Lamb. We have to tighten this up and go do this on the road because you're not going to play every game at home. Keep checking the box, and this is a big box to check. Let's check those 3 boxes on just quickly. Top 3 games I got this weekend. It's funny, they're going to always probably be, well, let me just say it. First going to be the Washington Commanders, the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's a big game. Even though the Chiefs on the spell, on a run, and it looks like the Commanders are on a little fall. because Jaden Daniels won't be playing. But they will be getting back Debo Samuel. They were full participants practice today. And Terry McLaurin and Marcus Mariota can get the job done. He can still get the job done. But they're going to have to lean on that running game. You know, they got the number one rush offense in the world. You want to beat Kansas City, you got to lean on that run game. So I will never say, no, I'm not even going to think that. I won't even think that because he's too cool, too smart, and too good of a player. You know, sometimes I say, well, if you don't have your top quarterback, maybe it'll force you to run the ball more. And then I'm trying to turn in my mind to lift up the Washington Commanders that maybe you can make this is a good thing. You're fortunate Jaden's hurt, but just run the ball. And now you're running more because you don't have your top guy. I can't even make that. You know, you would love to have Jaden Daniels for this game. I can't even play with it. And Marcus Mariota can turn around and hand it off. You got to turn to that run game and make some things happen. But Kansas City is starting to hit a roll. This is a big game for the Chiefs. The Chiefs can't lose now to Washington, who doesn't have his top quarterback, and then turn around next week and play the Buffalo Bills, who have one of the top quarterbacks. So, you know, if you think this is one of those trap games, Kansas City don't do traps. They don't do traps because they know every time they walk in the stadium, somebody's looking at them like the next great thing, and they're trying to measure where they are by beating Kansas City so they can say we're this close to where we want to be. So Kansas City will be ready, and they will win that game. They will win that game. So that's going to take Washington to 3-5. That's a scary thought when we think about how everybody was talking about at the start of the season who's going to be where, who's going to be at the bottom of the division, and now Jaden Daniels hurt. And speaking of Jaden Daniels being hurt for Washington, Scatterboo and Dart is tearing it up in New York. They've been putting up 30-plus points the last 2 games, and they get to come back down and play whom? The team they beat a couple weeks ago, the Philadelphia Eagles. This is about to be a scary game. See, this is about to be a scary game. I told you guys a while ago, and I will always say this because this is how I study games. It's not just the game and who's playing who. I got to look at these matchups and what works. And whenever you have a flickering matchup, what I call the one thing that gets to Philadelphia, if you could stop Saquon Barkley and keep pressure on the quarterback, you can almost be subpar on the back end. You know, and I'm not saying, and I know the Giants had a couple guys out against Denver last week, but the Giants also have those other 2 things in play. And that's what they did a couple weeks ago to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. They're able to stop the run because they stopped Saquon Barkley, and then they got to Jalen Hurts. They beat them up front. In the matchup with their speed over, I guess, the offensive line of Philadelphia, I thought it was glaring. And I know Philly probably thought, okay, maybe we got caught by surprise by Dart and Scatterboo. And Scatterboo rushed for 3 touchdowns last week, a couple weeks ago when they played. So that tells you what? They feel like, oh, okay, when we get down here, I know you guys have tush push, but we get down here, we feel good about our offensive line and Scatterboo. And I mean that little bull, John Riggins type running dude they got back there. And another thing, the Eagles secondary has trouble with the mobile quarterback. And that's what he did in New York. He moved around and found Robinson and found his tight ends and made plays. And that's what gives Philly trouble. I'm going to say Philly's going to win this game But I'm telling you, you got to watch this very, very closely. This is a scary one. Because, and I too, man, I can't tell you guys, and I keep telling people, watch this New York thing because the age group, these young guys, and then you pencil them in with the Malik neighbors. And it's not just their talent, it's the mentality. They got all the same mentality. Scatterboo, Dart, and Malik neighbors, it's going to be, I'm saying it early. I do have Philly to win this game tomorrow, Sunday. I do have Philly winning this game. I have Philly winning this game. But I'm telling you, I would be totally shocked if somehow the Giants win this game. Now, I will be totally shocked. I don't care what y'all say. I'm taking Pittsburgh over Green Bay, and that's my third game. And we know this is going to be a hell of a fight. Green Bay going into Pittsburgh. Green Bay going up against Aaron Rodgers. But there's so much into this. I love that now you got Michael Parsons bringing his Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers stacking up now for his Pittsburgh Steelers. So Michael Parsons wants to show I'm here for you guys, and the best way I can do that is go get that joker right there for you guys. So he's gonna be coming. I had 3 sacks last week. He gonna be coming. He's gonna be coming. I can't wait to watch it. He got some in him now. He got some fight. Michael Parsons is a lot like me, especially. So for his fan base, no matter what, he is going to try to provide for that fan base because he feeds off that. And if he could go tear through Aaron Rodgers, he'll be an instant folk hero in Green Bay. And Michael Parsons wants that. He wants that. But boy, Pittsburgh is going to be saying, no, not this day. See, that's what I'm saying. If it was just Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, that's one thing. But it's Michael Parsons and Mike Tomlin, that's a whole nother thing. They just let one get away, Pittsburgh did, that they knew they should have had against the Cincinnati Bengals, but since they traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals from Cleveland, and that's why Mike Tomlin said, I don't know what would make a man do such a thing, because he knew they had those outside receivers. Now, Matthew Golden and Dobbs, they're good receivers, but they're not Jamar Chase, and they're not T. Higgins. And Pittsburgh and Jalen Ramsey and those boys, they'll be fine going up against these boys as opposed to trying to stop those boys for the Cincinnati Bengals. And now we're talking about getting down to playing football. And who can play small ball since there's no Jamar Chase and T. Higgins out here, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh in that battle. I'm going to take Mike Tomlin in that spot. That's going to be a physical game. The battle's going to be between Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid. You know what I mean? Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid. Because that's the teacher and the student. Aaron Rodgers was once the teacher. He's going up against Danielson, the Karate Kid. And that's just what it is. Jordan Love. And I want to see this. And when we take away, I'm not even taking away all of Aaron Rodgers' big plays. DK Metcalf, he's going to give him an opportunity down the sideline. what cost them a couple times last week is when they put so much pressure and so much attention to him, those opportunities, it cost him. But I guarantee you, he'll get some opportunities down that sideline to make some big plays. This is going to be a game that I just believe Pittsburgh's going to show up and get that win. Yep. All right, guys. Here, get ready, man. Got to head down to Miami and get ready for that game. And did y'all see it too? I don't know if you heard it, and I'll show you. But in Miami this week, we're wearing camouflage uniforms. If only, if only we'd have won that game. Do you know how big this would have been with Miami pop off those camouflage uniforms? And you know what else I thought just then? If our black asses would have done what we were supposed to do when we wore them camouflage in that championship game, you know how bad. Okay, that's too much. I'm gonna let that one go. All right, locker room. Let's chat later. Talk to you later.